My name is Rick Firestone.
My name is Ben Bugale.
And what a special occasion. We are live and in person doing this podcast business together in the flesh for the first time.
It's a Mother's Day miracle, everyone, and we're glad you're here with us. To those who are watching and or listening live, here we are.
Yeah, that's the holiday. I'd forgotten which one was coming up, but it is Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day. That's not a question.
It's a demand.
It is. It is.
Say hello to your mother for me.
Please.
That came off a different way than I was anticipating. So we wanted to, do this live episode together in person because it's the end of the year. Ben and I, now that we're sort of closer together and in the same state, get to hang out more frequently. We thought this would be fun. We both had some free time today, so that's nice. And we thought, this has been an experience doing this for the first time. And I'm going to move my mic closer as I'm talking. And yeah, we just kind of thought that today we would talk about the experience that it's been. And then at the end, we're going to get into some AMA stuff. A lot of you submitted some questions. We have all those here. I think it's going to be a good time. So, if you're listening, by the way, the audio quality might not be the same. We're in a different location.
We are.
So, that's fine. Do you still have the stream up on your phone?
I can pull it up right now.
It might be a good idea just in case, we're too quiet.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't even know what we sound like.
It might be a good idea just in case, we're too quiet.
That's pretty clear. Inception, everyone. Zoom in.
That's not how phones work.
I know.
Enhance.
I declare bankruptcy.
There it is. Yeah, so we've been doing this. We're at the end of the year. It hasn't.
When did we start officially? Was it March or April?
I don't remember when we recorded our first episode, but we posted our first episode, which was actually our second recorded episode, in March on the 31st.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when we started or when we recorded those first two, but it's been the better half of a year.
Yeah. It's strange. It's with the way 2020 and 2021 have been, people talk about the blur and it really has felt like one. And I find it kind of strange that we've been doing this as long as we have, but also as short as we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This whole year has really kind of flew by. Just yesterday, some folks were talking about an episode that we recorded 5 months ago, and I was like, what did I even say?
What
but at
episode?
the same time, Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But at the same time, it's like it was like we recorded it yesterday.
Mm-hmm. That was July.
Maybe that's the brain. Maybe my brain's not working so good no more.
I think that's normal with the condition of the world right now, to be honest.
Yeah, and age.
We are ancient.
I'm not a healthy young boy like I used to be. Did you one thing that I was we're not going to get, so some of our AMA questions deal with sort of how we got started and some stuff like that. So we're going to save some of those questions for the AMA segment, which will be at the end. It's not going to be a long episode, don't worry. But which we're famous for saying and then going on for 2 hours.
Get ready, everyone.
But one thing, did you ever think that you would have a podcast or would do a podcast? Is that something that you've ever wanted to do?
I don't know if want is the word. I had been told I should do a podcast before, not on video games, but just someone. I was at this table at this wedding once, and I was kind of going off about all of the grievances. Listen to me. That I have with a lot of the world and the way that generations are treated. And they're like, you should have your own podcast. And I was like, how many people are doing this? So no, I didn't actually think that this would be a thing, but I'm happy that it is. What about you?
I mean, I never actively thought that I would have one. I've always kind of wanted one, but it was always one of those things where I, excuse me, I drank a lot of coffee before we started, so I'm kind of feeling that acidity. But it was one of those things where like I've been listening to podcasts since like 2015, which, you know, for some folks isn't nearly as long as they have, but it's always been something that has always been, I don't want to say a dream because that sounds too silly and you know, grandiose and dramatic, but like it's always been something like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? Like, wouldn't it be cool to just have one?
It's there's a seed in there of the whole like, wow, this would be really neat to do within reach. You know what I mean? And here we are. Yeah,
and you know, I'll expand upon that because I had a brief podcast prior to this one. I'll expand upon that when we do the AMA. But yeah, it's funny how things turn out. One thing that I definitely never thought was that one of my most enjoyable creative pursuits would be in creating spoken audio entertainment, spoken word audio entertainment. We got there.
It's okay. We all get there.
It took a few rungs on the ladder, but we got there.
And it's okay. To be honest, I didn't start listening to podcasts, I think, until 2019. I think it was Finding Fred was the first one that I actually listened to.
Did I? Did I turn you on?
That was you. You told me I should listen to it. And you know what? I'm not trying to speak critically, but the first 3 episodes were like, yeah, okay. And then it felt like it kind of got a little bit off target.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I thought the first couple of episodes were terrific. And then, you know, they sort of lost their vision. It was all still good. It was all still good. Finding Fred, for those of you that don't know, is a podcast series. It's 10 episodes, I think. It's just sort of viewing the work and the teachings of Fred Rogers, aka Mr. Rogers, through a modern lens, like everything that's happened since 2016, and we weren't quite in the pandemic yet, so that angle is absent, for better or for worse, to be honest. I mean, for better, I think.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I recommend checking it out. But we don't need to give any advertisements to the big name companies. They get enough money.
They do. But yeah, no, so I guess short answer long, I never saw this as a possibility. So this has been rewarding. It's been fun. It's been a really good source of, hey, Ben, you should finally play those games that your friends have been telling you to play for 10 plus years, including BioShock. So this is nice. This is real nice.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have played video games pretty consistently since I was a kid, but throughout like school and stuff, partly because I never had a good computer until 2020, but also because school, I just kind of recycled the same games over and over again. And this is funny to look back on now. I remember playing Rocket League in 2017 and 2018 on my laptop and having to turn the quality down so low that I had to physically go into the INI files and take away the ball. What would you call it? The not the ball locator. The
tail.
No.
The light. The what?
The tail.
Because it has sometimes it has like a thing with it, like a stream behind it.
Oh,
what's the word I'm looking for?
None of those.
I was gonna say
it's the thing when you go off of ball cam and it shows you on the ground where a ball is, like that little indicator.
Oh,
the thing
kind of compassy thing.
The thing that's critical to playing the game. I had to turn that off, and I have some saved replays from those time. And looking back now, it's like, wow,
wax on, wax off. It got you to where you are now.
Yeah, well, sure. Not that where I am is anywhere impressive, but sure. But yeah, it was really happenstance to be talking with you and to be talking with Vince as we, decided like, hey, this might be a cool idea. And now here we are. It's been a lot of fun. One thing that I wanted to ask you that nobody asked this, so I'm going to ask you, what's something you think that we've improved on a lot as we've done this, or what's something you think we currently do really well?
We've stripped down formality. I think we tried too hard too early on. I think there was too much, I don't want to say pressure, but too much like, okay, this has to go this way. It has to be. It's turned into a more organic conversation, not lacking intelligence, not lacking eloquence. I think that's been the biggest improvement personally. It's just been the nature of the conversations. What about you?
I agree. I think there's always room to improve on those sort of things too.
Sure.
Sometimes I catch myself being a little too formal is not the right word, but I lapse into the same environment that I would if I were teaching a class. And that's like, that's not the vibe. Nobody wants, we're not doing this to lecture anybody.
No.
Unless it's about voting Amnesia out of our horror contest. I haven't forgotten. I will take that to the grave. I haven't forgotten. No, I'm just kidding. It's that's why we call it People's Choice. But that's not the vibe we're going for. That's a me thing. But I think our dynamic from when we started, there was a lot of nervous energy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And when you and I have nervous energy, I think it's fair to say, not to speak for you, but we tend to bring out the shell of what we know. And what we know is being in positions where we are in front of people, whether it's teaching, whether it's presenting or whatever. You are teaching and presenting in front of the congregation.
Yeah, sure.
My teaching and presenting in front of not the congregation, other musicians. But we know how to do that, and that's what makes us comfortable. But that is a level of energy that's a little too academics, maybe not even the right word, but it's
too
a little
buttoned up and formal, I think.
Buttoned up is a good analogy. Let's button down.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. No.
If you donate now, there's no drive.
Call now, 816-986. I'm not going to give out my phone number. That's not for free.
How much is it?
Call now.
I'm tracking with what you're saying entirely. I mean, we're kind of singing the same song here. It's a matter of trusting ourselves, but then also taking pressure off of ourselves too, and just saying exactly what you're saying. The vibe that people want is not, everything has to be rigid and 100% airtight, and like mispronunciations and such happen all the time. And I think it's been good to give ourselves some grace as we've gone on.
Another thing that I'd like to just talk about too, that I have personally learned a lot about, and feel like I have gotten better at, is audio quality. Maybe not so much this episode, because this is a little more informal. We're doing it live. I'm going to be having coffee burps. I'm not editing any of this.
Nor should you.
No, this episode's a little bit different, but in our episodes in general, I feel like, we've gotten to an understanding of audio quality that we didn't have before. And I think that's really valuable. I think our audio quality is quite good, given that we do this for free, given the constraints we have both financially and personally and time-wise. I think we have a good sounding show.
If it's hard to listen to, it's hard to listen to forever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, you can go back and re-release things, but like, how much labor is that? I would agree with you entirely. It's very comfortable to listen to this with headphones in the car. Those are, respectively. And
I even, I have a nice pair of like headphones that I have when I want good audio, like music level good audio. And that's what I use to edit these with, and it sounds good there too. And could it sound better? Of course. I mean, we don't have the $400, $500 microphones with XLR digital interfaces and phantom power. We just have Blue Yetis, which
yes, we do. They're good mics.
Yeah. I mean, as far as USB mics go, they're fine. They're more than fine.
I was going to say, this is a good mic, baby.
But yeah, it's something I've enjoyed learning about it. I've enjoyed learning about the differences between USB and XLR in terms of like dynamic versus the other one that's jumping away from my brain at the moment. Shows you how much I know. But yeah, it's been fun to learn, and it's been fun to work on our respective digital audio workstations. We just use Audacity, to be frank. I mean, when it comes to spoken word entertainment, you don't really need a whole lot more than Audacity. I mean, Reaper would be better, but the percentage of increase in usability and quality is not worth the hours it would take to learn, in my opinion.
At least not now.
Oh, yeah, not now.
This works fine. It works great. And I don't think we've really heard anything about audio quality being... I've seen, heard nothing of, well, they're using Blue Yetis, so it doesn't count.
No, I don't think anybody feels that way.
Not yet. All right. That felt good.
It did feel good. So another thing that I wanted to ask is what, I have a couple more questions before we dive into our,
Goodness gracious, I wasn't
AMA.
ready for this.
Yeah. I come packed.
I'll say.
I am strapped. I'm here. Thank you. One thing that I wanted to ask is a bit of a lighter note. What was your favorite thing that we covered this year? You personally.
There are two. I would say that there are two that have spoken to me. I want, as much as I want to say Spyro, I also don't, because I low-key hated the second one. Low-key really did not like it, but I liked doing the episode with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing Sunshine with Vince a lot. That was a fun one too. Otherwise, I don't. Yeah, the Spyro one just kind of hits different. I don't know. What about you? What were your favorites? What was your favorite, I guess?
The Spyro one, in terms of recording it, I thought was a lot of fun.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought that was good fun. Superliminal, honestly.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Stands up there for me.
Yeah.
Like, both as a game and in terms of, like, the conversations we were able to have, and the Unfinished Swan as well. There we go. They both surprised me in terms of games, and I think, you know, they went to places where I think we had been hoping to go for a while on the show and just hadn't been able to because, you know, that kind of content is not present in Spyro, which isn't a failing on the game's part. It's just a different kind of a game. But we finally found a couple games that we could use to tie into things like bigger questions that don't have a concrete answer. Those are the episodes that are fun for me.
Yeah, I would agree. Superliminal was a lot of fun. And it's always enjoyable for me to play through a game a second time, but to also hear somebody's perspectives and opinions who I don't want to say like living vicariously through you, but it was an experience that you'd not yet had. And, you know, I think I played that game during the height of the pandemic. You know, I was not ready for any of it. So to hear you talk about it, I was like, yeah, this is good. This, you know, Rick, just keep talking about it right now. Low-key loved Diddy Kong too. I loved, there's a lot. There's a lot. Really, it's more of the recent stuff that has spoken to me, you know?
Yeah. And I think part of that too is we're finding our footing. You know, we know what we want to talk about. We know, and that's not to say that we're going to shun games that we don't think we won't like.
I will. No, I'm just kidding.
We're putting our foot down, is what we're saying. I want to have a bad time. And I need everybody around me to also have a bad time. Because that's the kind of person I am.
That's not how he is.
No, I think we're just finding our footing.
Yeah,
you know, and we're getting more comfortable choosing games. Because at first it was just like, what have we played before? Yeah, let's just do that. You know, and
sure.
It worked out. It worked out. Right. And there are some from the early days, like Majora's Mask, that I think, you know, 100 episodes down the line, if we ever revisited it, it would improve.
Oh, I agree entirely. And perspectives change whenever we do those kinds of things too. Like I already know, like if we were to ever cover Amnesia again, I have some things that I've, you know, my brain has changed a little bit about. Let me use this opportunity to say one game I really want to play with you because it's bad and broken is Hello Neighbor.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Dear God.
No, I don't want to play the Dear God. I don't. I just don't. You ever want to be bored for fun? Play the Dear God.
When we inevitably put a call out for games, keep this in mind.
Please don't. Please don't. It's okay. No, I'm glad to know that the Spyro episode jived with you the way that it did, as did Superliminal. That's glad to know we're tracking.
I'm with you on Spyro too as well. I mean, we had a whole conversation about it. It's the weakest of the bunch,
Like there's challenging, like WizPig, and then there's unreasonable, like Glug. No, Gulp, whatever his name is. He's not even worth remembering. Anyway.
So another question for you. So we're moving into 2022. I've been on record before saying that I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions. I think they're arbitrary, and I think they generally set you up for failure.
Yes.
However, I'm also not one to seek out people that enjoy those things and tell them that they're dumb. So in the spirit of that, that's new.
What is?
The heating.
Oh, the heat. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. We can use a chunk of this to use as a noise suppressant.
Yeah.
And that's probably enough.
Audio
it's
profile.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You are witnessing us editing as we go. It's great.
This is my normal smile.
Going into 2022, what and this is something that we haven't talked about off air. So going into 2022, what's something that you might want to try change or try differently, or an element that you might want to bring in that we currently don't have? What's a direction that you'd like to go in 2022 that we haven't explored as of yet?
For the show.
Yes, let's save the personal stuff for off air.
Well, something that we're doing in 2022 is exactly what I wanted to do, which is, as we have announced, we're doing the Smash extravaganza.
Yes.
So that's something that I've wanted to do, not Smash necessarily, but I really enjoy the idea of doing games that don't, quote, necessarily have endings. Because we've been doing so many story-based games, and those are all wonderful, and I enjoy them, and there's no but to this statement. I'm just going to say, and there are games that go for forever. There are Forzas. There are, Diddy Kong Racing very loosely has a story. So it's kind of a good transition into Smash Brothers. I mean, we could cover RuneScape. We could. I don't know if we will. We could cover Destiny. We could do, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole, we could do Rocket League.
The world is our oyster.
Yeah, it is. So that's what I'm looking to change and to, kind of keep some of those informal checkpoints. I like those. I like doing the checkpoints with you. Throw those in every once in a while. Let them be easy peasy lemon squeezy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to sit back and relax and let Papa do the work. You know what I mean?
And I do. How about you? What are you looking to? What trails do you want to blaze?
Oh, they're all happy. I think I agree with you. I think so. One thing, I don't know that we ever formally announced this, but one thing that we're going to move forward doing in the new year as we progress through the show is we are not always going to be doing the walkthrough, deep analytical style of coverage that we've been doing. We're not going to stop doing that, but we're going to keep it at maybe like once per month at the end of the month, so we can intersperse around it games like Rocket League and Smash that don't have a clear-cut story, but we can still talk about. And the benefits of this are twofold. One, we're going to just have more time to put into those analytical episodes, so they're going to hopefully be better quality. And two, it gives us a bigger swath from which to pull. It gives us a bigger quiver to pull from in terms of games that we are able to cover, right? Because the story of Rocket League...
What is it? What is the story?
Dystopia, children using slurs on the internet. I don't know.
Kinda, yeah. That's Rocket League for you.
But really, but yeah, it'll give us a bigger opportunity. It'll give us more of an opportunity to to branch out into other things. We're also, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder by saying this, we're bringing more guests onto the show.
My thunder is gone. I'm just kidding. Keep going.
Oh, recharge me. We've got a couple guests already lined up, softly, like they've agreed to be on the show. We haven't hashed out when or what games, but you're going to hear some new folks. Ben and I aren't going anywhere. We're still going to be here, obviously. But this is all in the name of bringing a little more variety and easing up our schedules in a way that will let us reap the optimal amount of enjoyment out of doing this. Not to say that we haven't enjoyed it, but at times the crunch does start to appear at times, and that's when it's not fun. And if this becomes not fun, I think we've both agreed that we just won't do it anymore.
Agreed.
And we're far from that point. But, I don't think I need to overly explain myself, which is a bad habit of mine. So I think everybody understands what we're saying.
Yeah, and also switching up the games to not doing all story-based makes it easier. It just does. Story on story on story on story, whenever there are other games that we like to play for our own sanity and for our own pleasure, it's really hard sometimes whenever it's just, doing games that are so involved. So to do some games that you have like just, that are kind of a little bit more spider web-ish, as it were, just nice. Nice to be able to have that freedom, that liberty.
And what is podcasting if not a pursuit of liberty?
It is.
Can we bring that back, that horrible meme from that dumb Marvel movie? Like, what is this if not that? What is a cheeseburger if not delicious substance from God? Like, and the writers clapped.
Absolutely, they did.
Yeah, I think that's all. Those are all the prepared questions that I really wanted to hash about on air before we got into like the good stuff, the AMA. Is there anything you want to just talk about before we move on?
No, you asked some questions that...
Do you have any questions?
I was not ready for. No, not really, because I think that the questions that are asked here are going to be very revealing and maybe even lead to some of our own questions.
We are on the same page. Literally on the same Google Doc.
We are. We really are.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little snippy snappy so we can maybe check the Instagram live just to see that there's not any like somebody saying like 30 minutes ago, we can't hear you.
Yeah, let's do that.
But so I'm going to put that in here, then we'll toast and we'll go into the thing.
We will.
All right, Ben. I don't know what you've poured for us.
This is Wathans. Let me give you its Christian name. Wathans Single Barrel. This should be a bourbon whiskey. Yep, it is a bourbon whiskey from Kentucky.
Bourbon. Listen to me, Ben Bourbon Bugale has one of the finest palates I've ever come across, and he introduced me to. I don't drink liquor. I have what they call a paper belly, wherein I take a shot and I make all kinds of faces, and I need a chaser. I can't do liquor.
Well, that's why we're not shooting. You know what I mean?
Well, true. But Ben introduced me when we lived together to what good bourbon was, because up till then I had like Jim Beam and that's it. And you introduced me to Woodford, which is still my favorite go-to. You introduced me to Blanton's, which is my all-time favorite. You introduced me to Makers, which is what I use for mixing everything.
Yes. Precisely.
It's just all good. So let us toast.
Here's to you. Here's to me. And I'm going to go a different direction from what my mother's toast would be, because it is extremely inappropriate. And here's to all of those who listen to us and who celebrate and who support us and who've offered us some great questions. Thanks so much. Here's to you.
Yeah, here's to you. Here's to us. Hail. This is delicious. Also, I didn't make eye contact. You know what that means?
I looked at you too.
I know. Oh, it's okay. It's not like it was good for the past year anyway.
It's about to be.
Let's get into some AMA questions. So we're going to do our best to attribute these. Some of them were asked multiple times. I'll make a note of that. We'll make a note of that if that is the case. But the first one comes from friend of the show, Dave Jackson. And he just asks, how did you two meet?
It was a dark and stormy November night in 2011. and these eyes looked across the hall at me in Cogswell, in Indiana, Pennsylvania, and then those eyes approached me, and I felt this warm breath in my ear, and it said, "Can you tell me where the restroom is, please?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And that's how I met Gary.
Couple of questions. First of all, where are we? What is going on?
That's a great question.
I smell burning toast.
Yeah,
surely that wasn't how.
No, that is not how we met at all. I was just making something up off the cuff, and I don't even know who Gary would be. Where was Rick at that time? Nowhere to be found, because that story is just not real. We met because of music school.
Yes, we went to the same undergraduate institution, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Go Crimson Hawks.
They were supposed to be the Bears. You know how much better that would have been? That's why Ursa was Ursa, because of the Latin for bear.
I feel like bears are a pretty common mascot, though, aren't they?
I suppose, but a Crimson Hawk, you know what I mean?
It's pretty fierce, dude. They've
guess,
got talons.
But they aren't. My thing is that, are they real? It's better than the Indians, I'll say that.
Jesus, yeah, that's true. That's gross, frankly.
It is.
Yeah, we met just kind of through other people, like in the halls and stuff. We didn't really start because I actually, in reference to this question, pulled up our Facebook messages. Went all the way back to the very beginning. And that was back before we didn't know that we had the same sense of humor. So we were both, I was like, "Hi, Ben. Hope you're well. Could you tell me what the homework for this class is?" And you were like, "Hey there, I'll answer when I get a free minute." And it's like, oh geez Louise. But we didn't start really talking until after our school held a concerto competition through a fraternity, in which Ben was a member. And
yes, I was a sophomore when he was a freshman.
Yes. Yeah. That was my freshman year, Ben's sophomore year. I entered, and I ended up winning.
Yes,
and Ben was the music director for that, so he organized the whole thing. And so that's how we started, we started talking more. Eventually led me into the same fraternity. That would be Delta Omicron. I'm not a current member. I haven't paid my membership fees in forever.
Right.
That's another story.
It is.
But,
it really is.
Yeah, I guess in one way, I mean, Delta Omicron didn't really do a whole lot for me personally, but it did lead me to one of my dearest friends, whom I love very much.
Agreed. It's very mutual. Yeah, I'd seen you in the hallways of your freshman year, and I was like, this is someone that I'm going to harass in the most loving way possible. And I cracked you. No, I'm just kidding. And you broke. Yeah, and then we started, hanging out late freshman year for you, late sophomore year for me. You pledged the fraternity the next semester, and then the next year we were living together. So
yes, we did. We lived together. I've been
year after.
I've been public about how I was a bad roommate for a string of years, but that's part of my growth process. We had fun. Like that was good times living together, though. I will say that.
It was really great. And throwing games into the mix, playing Ocarina of Time.
You would play Smash 64 one stock on very hard until you won, which you did. You did.
I don't
win.
remember doing that.
You won as
never
NES.
remember doing that.
You sure did.
Jeez Louise. I was a monster. And then watching Brant, our old roommate, playing through Majora's Mask. We traded N64 games, Brant and I did. It was good. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah. Do you want to jump to the next question?
Sure. How did the show come to be? So it was November 2011. It was stormy outside, and these eyes were looking across the hallway at me. No. Go ahead.
Couple of questions.
This is really on you. I mean, I know that I can answer the question, but this show is your fault.
Yeah, interesting terminology, but
I don't
yes,
mean it. I don't mean
true. The fury with which you are being assaulted in your auditory sensors is due to me, one broken man. No, so it was in 2020. This was directly after I finished my doctorate, which I don't talk about on this show very much because it doesn't matter and it's not real, but I was feeling frustrated because of the landscape of my field, the landscape of employment opportunities, and I was just feeling very creatively stunted. I was also not living in Kansas City anymore, which that'll do it. When you go from a big thriving city to a 2-stoplight town. But I was feeling creatively stifled, so I started this podcast because I was like, I'll give it a try. I started a podcast where I was interviewing basically just my friends in the music community, you included, Ben.
I was there. We were in another room.
It was a November night, and it was dark and stormy. But
and these eyes.
But I did that, and I was having a lot of fun recording and talking on mic, and it was just a blast. And folks were like, "You're really you have a knack for this. Like, this is good." And I was like, "This is good, but I don't want it to be about this. I don't want it to be about music and classical saxophone." So we were just talking with Ben and our friend Vince, who's not with us anymore. Rest in peace.
He's alive. He's alive.
He is alive. He is alive. He's
darling.
He's just,
we miss him.
Yes, we do very much. But we were just all talking. We were like, video games are cool, and I was like, video games are cool, and Ben was like, video games, pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
And we were just like, what if we just did this over Discord and just had a time with it? And we tried it, and it's been great.
Stuck, yeah. Yeah, no, it was we had thrown around names, and I remember you called me and you were talking about the previous podcast, and you're like, well, I think, what would you say? Would you want to do a podcast with me? And I was like, okay, yeah, well, what would it be about? And you're like, well, I was wondering about video games and doing deep dive reviews, and I was like, yeah, okay. And you're like, I have another friend that we could do this with, and I was like, yes, okay. And yeah, this has been extremely fruitful, a whole lot of fun. I don't know what else to say. It
for me, it combined. So like I am a huge fan, as I'm sure you are, of other podcasts that do a similar thing. But this notion of analyzing video games takes something that I really enjoy, which is playing video games, and it puts it into this art space where you can look at a piece, a work of art critically. And, that's what I love doing in music. I love doing that in high school and college with language arts. It's just, it's this creative part of your brain that I just love flexing,
I do know.
And it makes, it adds a new level of enjoyment to doing this kind of thing, playing video games.
The thing that I try not to do, and this is just kind of a behind the scenes thing, and I know that you do this sometimes, Rick, which is you will listen to or watch other shows about something while you're playing it and read reviews. I literally cannot permit myself to do that for fear of it, like, in my noggin. Like, I don't want to be thinking about what people have to say. That's not to say that there are some people who don't have some really good things to say, because they do. But yeah, no, that's one of those things that going into the show, I was like, I have to just let things dump into my noggin exactly as they are. Yeah, but I also recognize that going in, knowing the things that from listening to, you've mentioned Watch Out for Fireballs, and have you talked about Scott the Woz?
I love Scott the Woz very much, yeah.
Yeah, I guess here's a spin-off question. What does listening to other people's opinions while playing the game do for you?
It's not something that I actively do. Like, it's not something I actively seek out to do while I'm playing. It's more so a lot of the games that we play are not currently in the zeitgeist.
No, they're not.
And it's nice to just have other ideas spinning around in my head. BioShock Infinite's the best example, because that game is largely praised by almost everybody. And while we were playing through it, I'm playing it, forming my opinions, hearing these other opinions, and I'm saying, like, I see where they're coming from, but I don't agree. So it helps me when I do that. It challenges me to look at my own ideas and say, do these hold up to what other people are saying? Yes or no? Not that like is a deal breaker for me.
To me. It makes sense.
It's not something like I need my ideas to be kosher with everybody else.
No.
But it's like it gives a reference point. So it's like, do you think this just because you're frustrated with the game right now, or is this a valid criticism? That kind of thing.
That's a really good point. I'm not insinuating that you would take other people's opinions and say, well, now these are mine. Because that's not the kind of guy you are. I can't answer the next question at all, though.
Well, I was thinking we could combine the next two questions
Okay.
because they are kind of the same ilk. So I'll read one, you can read the next one, we'll just answer them.
Sure.
So Cody, my friend Cody Dawson, he says, rank the Mount Pleasant pizza joints based on mouthfeel alone.
What?
What's the next question? We're going to add them to, we're going to put them together.
The top 3 pizza toppings, and that's from a top 3 podcast.
Appropriately enough. So why don't we answer Cody's first? So you don't live in the town that Cody is referencing. I have had one pizza from the town Cody is referencing, and I told him I was going to do this. So let's change the question up a little bit just to be like, what's the best pizza you've ever had?
Okay.
Like from what joint? And there's one that I'm curious to know if you're going to say it because I've been meaning to talk to you about this one. So you go first.
So of all time, the best pizza I ever had was in Trastevere in Italy. Period.
Okay, that's not fair.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, for the record, I don't want to be misunderstood. The best pizza I've ever had was across the pond, and then the other little pond, by comparison. Gosh, best pizza I've ever had in the United States. There's a little place in Orlando that's really good, but up yonder. Okay, sorry, I'm like going around. I'm trying to figure out the best pizza I've had. Piccolo Forno in Lawrenceville, hands down best pizza I've had in the city of Pittsburgh.
What makes that a good pizza?
It is. What makes it a good pizza? What doesn't? It's not thick. It's not greasy. It's about as close as you're going to get to a pizza that is made in the most authentic fashion. Like that is my number one. And there are also like 3 or 4 tiers of pizza, keep in mind. So that's my like top of my top tier. Next level down, for like your local still good, Beto's or Betos as some people call it.
I was hoping you would mention this one.
I was going to say,
why don't you tell them what the gimmick of that place is?
Not being able to pronounce the title of the establishment. They bake the crust, like they bake the dough, then they put the sauce in, they bake it more, and then they throw the cold cheese on top of it and give it to you.
They don't melt the cheese.
It melts over time, yeah.
But does it though?
No, it really does.
I'm not going to be a believer until I try it. I'm just going to be.
Have you not had it ever?
No.
I'm going to change your life. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. You're a nasty guy, Rick. You're a nasty.
Anytime Ben leans forward excitedly and says, "I'm going to change your life," I just know something is coming.
It is. He doesn't know it, but it's going to. And then probably Fox's Pizza for the next tier down's top pizza.
Sure.
And probably, I don't know, maybe Domino's or Vocelli for the best of the bottom tier. I don't know.
All right. I mean, that's fair.
I don't know. Papa John's and the Day of Reckoning hasn't come yet, so I'm still waiting. What about you?
Yeah, he's got some words for you. Well,
Day of Reckoning is coming.
I'm gonna
Jeff Baseball. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
keep going.
I'm not a hard guy to please when it comes to pizza. I'm really not. Like I genuinely typically like all pizza. I think the best that I've had has just been just like street pizza from New York. Yeah. Like there's just something about it. Like it's perfectly gooey and greasy and thin. Like I don't have anything against Chicago pizza, a deep dish style pizza. It's not my preferred style, but like there's just something about it. Just a giant foldable crust of street pizza that you get like at 10:45 at night after you've had a few drinks at the bar.
Foldable is the key word here.
That too. You're right. I will say one of my favorite styles of pizza is breakfast pizza. And believe it or not, it's been kind of hit or miss at a ratio of like 70% hit, 30% miss. But there's a gas station in the Midwest called Quick Trip that has some of the best breakfast pizza I've ever had. And I'm not joking. I know it sounds silly to say gas station pizza, but like this breakfast pizza is so good. And you like throw a bunch of Tabasco on there. Oh my God. I could eat it 3 times a day. It's so good.
If one of the best turkey sandwiches I've ever had can come from a gas station in Ireland, then one of the best breakfast pizzas can come from a gas station in the Midwest.
And then also shout out to Joey O's Pizza of Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Really love that pizza too. It's got like a sweet pie crust, but at the same time, the cheese is really sharp. Can't beat it. It's very good to me.
Oh yeah, well, and that's why I have like the different tiers, and it's not that one is superior, one is, you have
sure.
You have your we're going to do it as close as possible to what Italy's doing kind of tier. Then you have your your local joints, and then you have your corporate joints, and then you have those places that are in between.
And then I also want to give a shout out. I am a defender of Little Caesars Pizza. I think it is good. You can't stop me. It is good. $5 hot and ready. You're not better than a $5 hot and ready. It's so good.
This is Rick's last podcast. I'm kidding. No, I've had it too. It's it has shocked me, but then other times it's really truly hit and miss.
And then what about your top 3 pizza toppings?
Pineapple, red pepper. And I don't mean flakes. I mean like actual strips of paper. Yeah. Did I say paper? Pepper. Everybody.
Peter Piper picked him.
Oh no, he didn't. He never came close. Probably mushroom. To be quite honest,
I like a good mushroom on a pizza.
It has to be a good mushroom though. Mm-hmm. There was a place in Northern Virginia called Matchbox, and there was this one, the Q Special, and I think it had chicken and mushroom. Unbelievable pizza. Unbelievable. What are your top 3?
I think 3 to 1. 3, I would also say mushroom, like good savory, good thick mushroom. But like you said, it has to be good. 2, bacon. I actually think bacon on pizza is the most fat ass American thing ever, but it's so good. I don't care. It's that added pork flavor. I'm not even a big bacon fan generally, but like, I guess I could say bacon or sausage. It's really the pork flavor that I like.
The only thing that matters is if you're yelling "get her done" while you're eating it or not.
I do. My fervor decreases as I consume more and more. And then my number 1 is hot sauce. I think unsurprisingly to anybody that knows me, I'm a enormous fan of hot sauce, and I typically douse my pizza in that stuff.
You douse a lot of things in sriracha and hot sauce and the likeness thereof. It's not a bad thing. In fact, I've recently learned the glories of hot sauces, so I respect you.
Very good.
This next question, I'm hoping we're in the same boat, but I'm afraid.
We are. Okay. This one's me. So Dustin Miller wants to know Chipotle or Moe's?
For me, it's Moe's every day.
It's not even close. It's Moe's.
No.
What about Moe's do you like? I like the vegetables at Moe's beat Chipotle any day of the week.
I would agree.
They've got fresh cilantro. They've got fresh jalapenos, which to me, like, pickled jalapenos are fine, but the brightness and the crispiness of a fresh jalapeno, I also think they're hotter. I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure they are. Blows it away. Plus free chips and queso.
Let's start with salsa at least. Salsa. Just so that nobody goes to Moe's and says, these guys said that the queso is free. All of those things. Literally all those things. I was eating Moe's for a long time, and then I watched an undercover boss of the CEO of Moe's go and work at his restaurants. And to my great surprise, watching the employees actually chopping the vegetables the day of. Now, I know it's television. I know it's made for entertainment, and it could be all a lie, but like, that's a heck of a lie to put on, to have people cutting vegetables. I don't know. Anyway, everything you just said, generous with their portion sizes too. And for the price point, I mean, come on. I don't know. And it's nothing that Chipotle doesn't do. It's just there's something in Moe's can be whatever you want it to be, though Chipotle is a little bit more pigeonholed, as it were, in my opinion. You can customize.
That's fair.
You can customize, but like, I don't know. The day I discovered that I could do like the cilantro lime rice, do a little bit of each kind of bean, Chipotle ranch on it. Like, come on, just stop it.
Yeah, I figured we'd be in the same boat. Just for the sake of time, one word answer, what's your favorite burrito place of all time?
See, that's, you go first.
Barbaritos. It's a place, I think it's based out of Athens, but it's in the general southeast. Miss it all the time. It's like the best bits of Moe's and Chipotle together.
I literally cannot think of the best burrito place I've ever been right now, and
that place in Virginia.
There was that one place, District Taco. I took you to District Taco. I think it's really quite good. But there was a place, I cannot pronounce the title of the place. It was also in Northern Virginia, and my coworker Nikki took me there once, and it was literally unbelievable. It was like it was a cash only place, if you know what I'm saying. And like, I was the only me, if you know what I'm saying. And it was just incredible food. It was the realest chicken I've ever had. Good. I mean, it's important. It's an important place culturally, gastronomically, etc. Thoughts on Halo Infinite, Jared Hess? I miss riding the bus with you, even though I'm 29 years old. I haven't played it at all yet.
Yeah, sorry, Jared, I haven't played this either. My thoughts just watching gameplay is that they added a grappling hook and tried to make it open world, but otherwise it's the same old Halo. Just fine. I've never been a huge Halo person, so it looks fun to me. I'm probably not going to play it, but, you know, it looks fun.
I will undoubtedly play it at some point because I was one of those kids who my mom was always like, you can't play Halo. And then when I'd go over to a friend's house and there was a sleepover, I was undoubtedly playing Halo. And I, you know, Halo in general, it's a monument in, you know, the canon of video games. I mean, I can't really think of an iconic first-person shooter between GoldenEye and Halo that really broke the mold. You know what I mean? Like, it went GoldenEye, a few years of kind of, I mean, you could try to stay perfect dark. Halo changed a lot of things, but no, we haven't played it yet. Though perhaps we'll try it in the new year. Wouldn't you like to know?
We'll never tell. So moving on,
I love
Tales from the Backlog, great podcast that you'll hear me on in December. What's a game that you know sucks, but you kind of love? So a game that maybe objectively didn't get great reviews, but you love. This was a head scratcher for me because I have exquisite taste. No, this is just something you never think about. Like, do you have an answer for this one, Ben?
I don't know. I mean, Hello Neighbor, I enjoy. It's sort of like, you know the old adage of, I realized I wasn't in love with you. I was in love with the idea of you. That's Hello Neighbor for me. It sucks. It's broken, but it's a great idea for a game. But literally, what on God's earth is happening? I'm not going to say that on air. Super Crate Box you should play it. I think it's free on Steam, and I don't want to say it sucks. It's just it probably cost someone a whopping $10 to make, and it's incredible. I don't know. What games do you know? And that's the other word here. What's a game that you know sucks?
Yeah. Gosh, my brain immediately went back to my older PlayStation 1 days. Like, I played Tomba a lot on PlayStation 1. I have fond memories of, but I don't think those games aged well at all. Cool Borders is another one, like snowboarding. I think those games are still kind of bad. I have a lot of affection for the entire Twisted Metal saga.
Okay, well, you should, you know.
Well, but some of those games are real stinkers. But I still like it even though I know it's bad. I mean, some could argue that all visual novels are bad games because they're not really games. I still like them. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, this is such an, This is very, very subjective, like what people think sucks versus what people don't think. I mean, people will look at, we just did Diddy Kong Racing. We talked at length about Diddy Kong and Mario Kart, and you sit there and you say, well, Diddy Kong's objectively a better game. Well, it isn't to people. You know what I mean? Like what's Mario Kart? You can't beat that. Well, you can. It was kind of done whether we agree to it or not. You know what I mean? Like, and it really, but that's where subjectivity comes in. That's a great question. I'm not sure.
It's a really good question.
Yoshi's Story, but it doesn't suck. You know what I mean? Like and there's a whole by today's standards versus older games. Does Among Us suck? Because I used to like Among Us a lot.
I still think Among Us is fun.
Among Us?
Among Us.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to insert, I know I said I wouldn't do any editing. I'm going to insert like the just deep fried version of that theme that's just going to blow out speakers.
Good. Just imagine it right now. You'll be fine. Shall we go to the next question here?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is kind of a statement, which is as follows. I'd love to hear your thoughts on setting personal goals for games. That might be 100%ing or speedrunning or only melee challenges or even just playing games like Minecraft with very few built-in goals. And this was brought to us by Charlie Young, is it?
Yeah, Charlie Young. Youth Beast, EUPHBEAST on Twitch, I believe. He's got a pretty cool channel, and I think everybody should check it out because it's good for chill vibes, and he's a funny guy. Like, genuinely, he's got one of the most underrated senses of humor I think I've ever met in a person.
I enjoyed him when I met him tremendously.
Like, I don't think he tries to be funny either. That's the thing, but he's just so good at being.
He's just dry.
So dryly witty and funny.
Deadpan kind of at times.
I miss Charlie so much. But this is a great question.
It's a super question.
So I don't think either of us speedrun.
No, I don't care to. I need
It's neat watching like Super Mario 64 folks speedrun. Like it's bizarre how they could just get the game to do what they want. That was a weird response, but okay.
No, that's a good way of putting it, making the game do what they want. I'd never thought of it that way.
Yeah. But and then, the Super Mario Maker stuff, I think that's really neat. I don't do it.
No.
What about some of these other things here, like 100%ing or melee or even like role-playing stuff? Like, what's your take on that?
I don't ever want to get to a point with any game that I care about actively that I start to resent it. I never want to get to that point. So for me with 100%ing, I try to space things out and make sure that I am not burning out. Personal goals for games. The person to whom I'm married and I have a joke about my brain being like a Sheikah slate from Breath of the Wild. I like to which is, you for those of you who don't know, spoiler alert. I was going to say, there are these towers that unlock portions of the map. That's basically all there is to it. My brain works that way. Like, I basically want to be able to, with my own personal goals for games, especially games that I love and want to love, I will make sure that I know the map with my eyes closed. Like, that's just one of those things. I try to immerse myself as much as possible, empathize as much as possible, but like 100%ing doesn't matter to me as much. Speedrunning, I like to chew my food as much as I possibly can, which is not a knock against speedrunners. Melee challenges and so forth. I mean, there's plenty of that in like the Bond games that I played of old. Yeah. Minecraft, I just want to build nice big structures that are creative and kind of be innovative. What about you?
I have 100%ed 2 games ever. Undertale, I got the trophy for that, and a game called Until Dawn, which, maybe we'll figure out a way to do it. But those are the only 2 I've ever gotten like trophies for, or achievements. I know Final Fantasy IX, I have done everything, just never on one playthrough. Oh, that's a lie. I never did the Excalibur 2. To get one of the ultimate weapons, you have to beat the game in or you have to get to the end of the game in 12 hours, which requires you to like do a very specific strategy. You have to skip every cutscene. Back in the day, like with the PlayStation 1, you had to do some tricks of like opening the disc cover and like to get through some stuff.
Jeez Louise.
It's just not worth it. It's really dumb, so I've never done it. But I'm not one that likes to 100% things. If there are achievements that like kind of guide you there, sometimes achievements work for me on that level, but like I'm not an achievement hunter. So, same with Pokemon. Like I've never been compelled to complete the Pokedex. It's just I'm not a collectathon kind of guy. So that's role playing though. Like anytime I play an Elder Scrolls or a Fallout or anything like that, and to a lesser extent Fire Emblem and Persona, I love doing that. Like I love role playing. Like I love creating a character and being like, okay, this character, he puts himself first no matter what, or actually herself. I generally play women when given the choice.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that? Have I told you that before?
No, but I believe that.
It's not like a weird thing, and it's not like a haha woman thing. It's just I just rather play a woman like most of the time.
Well, I mean, video games have been so stereotyped and force-fed to boys.
I think that's part of it.
They shouldn't be, and it's stupid. I digress.
But no, I love doing that. Like, I'm trying to get through New Vegas right now. I'm having a lot of performance issues. But my character, I'm making him right now like he's like a Qui-Gon Jinn type, and that's actually kind of my favorite to roleplay as. Like Qui-Gon Jinn's not going to cause any trouble. He's going to stick to his own business, but he's going to do what it takes to take care of what he needs. Like he's not above brainwashing Watto to rig the race or, to bet what he needs.
Though, did it work?
Well, I mean, Qui-Gon's a badass.
Now this is pod race.
Now this is podcasting.
Yeah.
It was right there.
It was.
You should have taken it.
It was right there.
But no, I love a good role playing. I'm actually in that same New Vegas playthrough doing a melee primary build. So I'm actually, you'll like this. My two primary weapons are boxing gloves. So I'm punching lizards and bloat flies, and a straight razor. So I'm running around like singing Sweeney Todd, slashing raiders. 10
to the tail, baby.
It's great. They've got guns, and I'm just running like wah 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 wah. It's terrific. That is terrific. I love role playing. Like that's part of what makes video games so goddamn fun to me.
It is. Again, it's that immersion. It's that kind of forced empathy. Rick, this next question that you get to ask, I'm very excited.
Yeah, this is another one.
Who submitted this? Who could have done this?
Get out of here. This is another one that a couple people submitted. A couple people asked this one. What games were you both wrong about? This is such an interesting question because it goes two ways. It goes a couple ways actually. There's a joke in there too. It's like, did you think a game was going to be bad and it was good? Vice versa. Did you think it was going to be good and it was bad? Did you think that it was going to have more to say than it did? Or, were the mechanics just not what you were expecting? So this is interesting.
For me.
Yeah, please.
I interpret this question. No. I was just going to say the way I interpret this question is, what game did I rate too high or what game did I rate too low? That's the way I read it, personally. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. I have two games in my noggin, but I'd rather volley it to you first.
That we've done recently on the show, I think, although I still don't think it's a good game, I think I was too hard on It Takes Two. I think the writing is really bad. I think the overall theme and story and everything is really bad. But some of the platforming is fine. I think I was too hard on... I don't think I was too hard on Majora's Mask. I go back and forth with that one. It's just one of those games that I love the idea of, but I just don't like playing it,
Well, if you're not someone who's into those styles of games specifically, like you aren't into racing games as much, like, if I were to say like on a scale of, 1 to 5 with the best racing games you've ever played, where would Diddy Kong Racing fall? Like, I know that you gave it like a 6.5 to like a 7, but in terms of like the best racing games you've ever played, might stack a little bit higher. doesn't mean that it's, you know what I mean? Like these are things worth considering.
Yeah. One more, just from my personal playing career. What am I talking about? Just from my personal life of playing games outside of the show. One game that I thought was going to be something incredible that turned out to be not was Tales of Berseria. It's so good in everything except for playing the game. And this is something that if you go onto the subreddit, they will agree with you. Like they'll say, yeah, playing the game is not great, but the story is amazing. And it's like, but so much of the game is playing the game, you know? It's part of why it's a video game. So it's not even one of those things where it's like, well, it's intentionally this way. No, it's just button mashy and the combos aren't intuitive and they don't mean anything. And, it's just, yeah, it's one of those. So I was a little wrong about that. But you have something on deck for this, so I want to hear what you have to say.
I have two games that I was specifically wrong about. One that I rated too low, and one that I rated too high. Game I went too low on, I would say, just from literally a functionality standpoint, Amnesia, I should have rated higher. It's not to say that I liked it as much as I could have. And I'm not saying that it would have made it all the way either. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a good game. I wouldn't give it beyond a 9.5 for me personally. It did not scare me. It functions well, and it's clearly a sturdy pillar in the horror game genre. Period. It's a good game.
That baffles me. It did not scare you.
It didn't scare me, no. At first, I was like, I'm scared. And then I was like, you know what? Slender the Arrival scared me more.
You are such an interesting person, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
I appreciate that. It's just variety of scares matters to me. And there came a point with it that I was like, But again, functionally, thinking about that, a little bit higher. The Cat Lady, I rated too high. That game is more like a 4 or a 3 for me.
Interesting.
It just was not. The more I go back and think about the through line, it's not that it didn't use some creative elements, but it really wasn't that intuitive. So
it was mainly the interface for you, not really the story?
The story itself was fine, but the voice acting was abhorrent.
Yeah, the voice acting that's a thing.
And the audio quality was brutally inconsistent. So there's just all of these things. Was that me that went off? Probably. No. Something went off somewhere. But anyway, too high on that one. Yeah. You want to look at the next question? Blossom is making noises in the other room. For those of you who don't know, Blossom is my four-legged companion doggy. I should say. I know, I'll be there. I know. So the next question is, what 6 Pokemon would you choose to have IRL for battling or everyday life things? And this was Jeffrey Thermesticles Thompson.
What a question.
Great question. Who do you pick?
Oh, you're following it right to me.
If you want me to go first, I'm ready.
So, I think I would definitely want a bird Pokemon.
Okay, yeah.
I need somebody that can fly me around, You
do need that.
It's just practicality. I think, and then, on top of that too, maybe a Pokemon that's really strong, like Machoke or something. Just a big beefy boy that could help me with, tasks like that. Machamp, maybe? I don't know. One of those big beefy boys.
My 6, I've got them.
You've got 6 ready to go.
I've got them in my noggin.
Okay, yeah, go.
I would pick, and this is just because, I don't know, I have like an old school OCD. She's making whiny little baby noises in the other room. I know, I'll be there. She can come on, it'll be fine. Mewtwo. Always. Mewtwo is my number 1 of all time.
That's asking for trouble, like IRL.
Oh, it is, but it's also amazing. The conversations, you know what I mean? Oh my God. Wow, she's giving me a mouthful. So we've got Mewtwo, Grookey, Keep in mind, I've only really played the first and the most recent generation, so I need to catch up, and I know that, and I will. So it's okay. Mewtwo, Grookey, Litwick, Cloyster. She might be saying why Cloyster? Well, water and ice. Come on. I don't want to be the guy and just say Pikachu. But I'd probably say Pikachu and then like a Pidgeotto so that I have like at least every base covered a little bit. It's not overpowered. It's not all these legendary folks. I'm going to go check on the little lady.
You need to take care of your dog.
Who are your 6? Do you have 6 in mind?
Do you want me to just list them or I could vamp? I'm going to vamp until you get back. Okay. So while Ben is gone, I'm going to vamp on the idea of what democracy means to me. This is, I think everybody should think about what democracy means. Let's start with the founding fathers. Get rid of them. Update it all. The founding fathers. Update them. Probably didn't smell very good. Yeah, like all those. Oh, Ben is back, so I'm going to have to cut that vamp short. So here we are, and he's got a doggy. Hi, Blossom. I'll lick my head. This is very nice. I'm so excited.
Please continue on your rant. I'm sorry.
No. Please don't make me continue. Don't make me continue on that vamp, because I don't know where I was going. I was just talking and hoping I found my way. And I didn't. So my Pokemon... I think, somebody that could fly, let's say Pidgeot. Because Pidgeot, as far as the ones that I could get onto, maybe Pidgeot would be too small. I would crush that bird. Oh, I would crush that poor bird. Let's say Latias for flying. For punchy things, Machoke, I think, because Primate would be too crazy. My favorite Pokemon of all time, Mew. That would be good. And then the other 3. Who did I say? Mew? Someone to fly, Latias, Machoke. Eevee, because I think Eevee is just super cute. Squirtle, because it's my favorite starter of all time. And one more. Oh, I don't know. Mr. Mime, just because he's such an unsettling character. So our final question, this comes from a personal friend of mine, and I'm just going to use their handle, Whooper, which is spelled with 2 V's instead of a W, because, double V. They ask, if you could pick one game to completely erase from your memory and play again for the first time, what would you choose and why?
That's a super, super question. Her tail is going nuts. For me personally, and this is really hard, but I think in this day and age, it would be Breath of the Wild. That game is monumental and it's tremendous. It's gorgeous. I don't know. I could go on about it, but it's just a beautiful game. If it was like a younger me, I would say Majora's Mask. What's yours?
Well, and that's the thing. I was hoping that we could take that angle as like currently and then younger. So 2 Zelda picks?
Oh, yeah.
I understand Majora's Mask, but you go Breath of the Wild?
You have to understand how ingrained that game is in my mind. The game is like, I know every nook and cranny of that map, and I'd like to not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. So. I understand. Okay. For me, like, just as a kid, I would love, and this is assuming that, like, I would transport back to being a kid, not playing them in the current day. Like, if I could relive as a kid playing through Pokemon Red for the first time, I think that would just be incredible. Because those were the days where, like, Pokemon was brand new in the United States. Like, I don't remember how this happened, but because I was a kid, I wasn't mailing for anything. Like out of magazines, we got a Pokemon VHS tape. Like it was like a promo reel of Pokemon the anime in the mail, and it had like Ash, Misty, and Brock on it, and Pikachu. And I was like, what is this? You know, when I put it in, I was like, this is so weird. And then it started coming on TV and we watched it and I was like, this is so cool. And then we got the games, and this was before the internet. So like everything was word of mouth. So like rumors would travel, like, you know, you could get Mew behind this like secret truck if you use strength, and or like, you know, if you do this, like if you pull the link cable out at this exact time, you can clone your Pokemon. And like that was such a magical time where like at our school in the morning, everybody would come into the gymnasium to like, you know, chill out as people were coming in before homeroom, and everybody would just be on their Game Boys playing Pokemon. And it was so cool. And like I would love to relive that. That was such a cool time. As an adult, Disco Elysium. It couldn't be anything else. That game means so much to me, and it's such an incredible experience. Like the writing, the story, the themes that it covers, just everything about it is so good, and I would just love to experience it fresh again. I think that would just be too cool.
No, I have yet to play the Disco Elysium, and that's why I haven't listened to the episode. But I'm looking forward to playing it myself.
And I hope you do, because I'd love to talk about it.
So would Blossom.
She's a good puppy.
She's so good. You're so good at being a
One of the best behaved puppies I think I've ever met.
She's kind of a miracle. We give thanks for you. Everyone gives thanks for a baby.
Well, that's all of the AMA questions, and, you know, we don't want to take up too much of your time with this one. This was just a little celebration and a fun little get-together where we could chat and say, most of all, thank you to everybody who's listened. I mean, it would be fun to just do this for ourselves, but our numbers are showing that a lot of people like what we're doing, and I think that's really cool. And, you know, we are both performers deep down, and this is just another aspect of doing that. So thank you. This has been more fun than I've had in quite a long time.
It's as much as we do this for ourselves, we do it for you. We do it with you. We like to experience games that you've experienced. We like to have all of these different shared perspectives, and we're right about games, and we're also very wrong about games, and that's the beauty of doing what we do. So thanks for joining in on this.
All right, the puppy's getting restless, so I think we should cap it. As you all know, my name is Rick Firestone.
My name is Ben Bugale.
I'm so happy that we are here and we could do this. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.